Okay. I'm gonna try and do a quick deck profile for you guys. So forgive me if it's a little bit rushed. I reshot it a few times, just because I kept messing up and forgetting certain things, and also I have a 2-year-old daughter. So if you hear her in the background, those of you who don't have kids, or you know, those even that if you do, you can't really keep a 2-year-old from being loud and playful. But it sounds like she's getting a little bit more quiet now. So. Uh, Awesome. Love being a dad. Love my 2-year-old to death. She's the best. But so first off, I'm gonna give you the deck profile, and then I'm gonna try. Hopefully, I remember. I'm gonna try to speak on the deck a little bit. So I'll give you a quick deck profile, and then explain some things that I like or dislike about the deck and some of my personal opinions. I'll try and do some of that during it. So, but otherwise, you can skip ahead if you don't like this part, and just kind of see what I'm playing. And then at the end, you can just if you don't want to listen to the rest of it after you got the deck profile. All right, there's no extra deck and no side deck, so I'm just gonna mainly explain the monster effects. Yeah, not the monster effect, but the cards I'm playing. All right, this is the Qliphort build, my new Qliphort build. Okay, I hope you guys can see I'm kind of having trouble finding the right camera angle that I can't really see if you guys can see that very well. I'm doing this on my computer, so camera setup's not perfect yet. So to start off, the 3 carrier, your walking compulse, the 3 Qliphort Helix, walking MST. If you tribute these 2 off, you get their effects. So, simple explanation. 3 Shell, tribute for him, and he can swing twice and deal piercing. 3 3 Qliphort Stealth. One of the most important cards, and to me the best card. The best Qliphort, aside from your scout that searches everything, and monolith, those are really important. But these help you, especially in my new build, they help you play the game, and they're kind of what keeps the deck alive. 2 monolith, he at the end phase he draws cards, 1 for each Qliphort monster that you tributed for a tribute summon this turn. 1 scout. Because Konami says so. Konami. It was unnecessary. I can understand Towers because, yeah, I wasn't the biggest Towers fan anyways. I felt like he was bad for the game. I didn't really play him because I didn't feel it took skill to win if you were really just relying on Towers. So I played him, sided him if I really needed him, but you don't. I didn't feel I ever needed him, but Scout, that was unnecessary. But anyways, moving on. Qliphort Disc, he can summon 2 monsters. When he's tribute summoned for, he can summon 2 monsters from your deck. So, and then they're destroyed during they leave the field during the end phase, like they're destroyed. But really good. You didn't really need him. I used to play 2 and 2 with him in stealth, but in this current build that I'm playing, you actually need the 3rd stealth, and you don't need the 2nd disc. Cephalopod. You don't really need him unless you're playing Grave deck. So, but he's an extra 9 scale. He burns for the difference of how many more monsters your opponent has in their grave. He'll burn for the difference, and you gain that same amount of life points. I think I explained that about as simple as I could, but and I was tricky. Aside from that, I side him. I don't have a side deck right now, but normally I would side him. Extra ones in case I'm playing a grave heavy deck. So, yeah, moving on. 2 Majesty's Fiend. I could finally play them. They were actually too expensive before the last November ban list. So, then I found them finally on Amazon for cheap. So, yay. I can finally play Majesty's Fiend. Basically, if you don't know what he does, he is a floodgate. effect monsters cannot activate their effects. So that's hand, field, grave, extra deck, anywhere. It even stops I believe, the Helix and Carrier. I haven't seen official ruling for it, but I'm pretty sure that he does, because he doesn't specify. And those are like the only cards that go to the extra deck and activate an effect, as far as I know. Okay, on to the spell cards. This is probably the best part of the deck. Pot of Dualities. Love Pot of Dualities. I play a 43 card deck. It's 43 card decks are not that bad. Like, they're like, to me, that's the best number to play. Unless you're playing a 40 card deck and you're playing the upstarts, then that makes it a 37 card deck. But a 43 card deck is not much. It's only like 0.2% slower than a 43 card deck is only like 0.2% slower or something like that than a 40 card deck. And like, then it doesn't get like a really big leap until you get to like 44, 45, then it's like a bigger distance. But 43, you can get away with getting an extra few cards. And with dualities, you can dig 3 cards and pick out what you want. And that just really makes it not really hurt the consistency at all. Like, I always play 43 card decks. And I have a friend that plays upstarts and plays 40 card decks. And then my decks still get what is. There's like, and he's a good player. But like, my decks still get with his on consistency. So we always have this argument, but really, I'm gonna move on. But yeah, in that argument, we finally agreed that 40 card deck is better if you're playing upstarts. 43 card deck, if you're just playing a 40 card deck and you're not playing something like upstarts that makes it a 37, it doesn't matter. You know, the extra 3 cards is just not that bad, and it's good. It gives you some more versatility. But here now. This card is the big play, the big card. When I picked up Monarchs, I had forgotten about this card until I picked up Monarchs, and a friend recommended them because he says that he said to me that since you like Qliphort, you'll probably like the Monarch decks. So when they came out, I just picked them up and I love them. I love Monarchs, but I kind of stole these out into my copies that come in the mail. Had this in my cart. Forgot why it was in my cart because I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, and just didn't even know why I had them in there. And then when I started playing Monarchs, I realized again now. So if you don't know, I'll explain this card. I'm gonna just do this now instead of the end. This card can search a monster that has 28,000 attack and 1,000 defense, or a monster that has 2,800 attack or 2,400 attack with 1,000 defense. Pretty much that's all of your Qliphort monsters except for like Sky-Base, Monolith, Scout, and Towers. Like, pretty much all of them have that attack and defense. So he searches all of those monsters. Also, if you're worried about, if you look at this and you say, hey, well, you won't be able to go to the extra deck, there's plenty of ways to play around it, which I'll try and explain in detail as we go through this. And whatever's left, I'll explain some things at the end. Stealth can also bounce this card, which just gives you access to your extra deck if you're worried about that. So, going to get that out of the way. You really only need one Summoner's Art with the one target being Stealth, and you being able to go to the Return of the Monarchs. I like to call them. I like to call this Rotom. It's just simple. It's a long title, so Rotom. But yeah, that searches Monolith, so you really don't even need the additional Summoner's Art. And then I play what I like to call Totem, Tenacity of the Monarchs. It's basically a search card for your Monarch spell cards. Yeah, it's working out. I tried it at 2. Not sure how. I didn't really like it, but I just took it to 1. Not sure how I feel with it at 1 right now, but overall I like it. I think it's good, and I also pair that with the Monarch Stormforth, so this isn't dead. Plus, I didn't think that you needed the second Monarch Stormforth because mostly you can get out of plays. I mean, it gets you out of like situations like a removal, and this can help search it, but I felt like you didn't need that many copies of it. If I had room, I'd probably try and squeeze a second one, but not necessary, especially when it's searchable. So, and that keeps your that loop keeps your deck live. So bear with me. These are my last two cards, the spells. Sorry if I overtalk, guys. I just want to kind of explain some of this and get some of it done before the end. Laser Clip is a basically lets you double summon, so this speeds up the deck and helps you really thrive for your Rotom. So it helps the deck really thrive and keep summoning when you're not going to the extra deck and things like that. And also, aside from this, getting an additional summon, the additional normal summon. With this on the field, your normal summons of Qliphort monsters can't be negated. So, really good. Excuse me, my throat is just really cloggy, like really scratchy. I mean, let's go to the trap cards. Okay, didn't have it organized, but two Tyrants Tirade, really good. I've been playing this since I couldn't afford Lose One Turns or the Majesty's Fiends for a long time. There was a 10-cent card, 10, 25 cent on like Amazon, and also like my local store had a that we play at our locals. They had a bin where you can just get cards for pretty cheap. The cards that like they weren't like the most expensive cards, a lot of stuff that people overlook, but you can find like text in there. So I really like going to look in the bin. Found this. Basically, you tribute 2 monsters and negate the effects, or excuse me, and then effects of effect monsters in the hand or field cannot be activated. This shutdown match with Necros, he summoned Trish and was going into a gen lock with Trish. And when I seen that, I knew it was about to be game over. And I was already in a bad hand. Couldn't come back from that. I had nothing. So I just activated this, tributed my Helix and my Carrier. And I was barely getting board presence to get those. But it was worth the sacrifice. I came back and won with this. Basically, Helix bounced the Trish. So I didn't get Trished. And then it locked him out of the board, and he just couldn't. It shut down his hand in his field, and he was like, I can't really come back from this. And we played through it, and it won me the game. So that was pretty good. I love this card because of that. And yeah, 2 is pretty much all you need. I'm gonna leave that. 2 Phoenix Chain. I will be probably taking these out once my Lose One Turns come in the mail. So pretty much everyone knows what Lose One Turns do. 1 skill drain, negate the effects of all monsters on the field. Again, this deck loves floodgates. This second Mirror Force will be coming out for the Quaking Mirror Force I have coming in the mail. And I like Quaking Mirror Force because it's pretty much a mass Book of Moon, which is pretty funny because I feel like that's the best one of the new ones. And I feel like the original Mirror Force is still overall like my favorite. Between those two, those are my favorites. I don't really like Storming Mirror Forces. Like, I like it, but I don't think it's worth paying $24, and I don't think it's as effective. Because against Pendulums, it's like the same thing. Either you're bouncing them to their hand or sending them extra deck. Either way, they can Pendulum summon these monsters again. So and then Mirror Force just sends everything to the grave. So if I was playing like a graveyard deck, then yes, Storming Mirror Force would be a good thing. But I'm not paying $24 for that though. And save zones, really good. I don't know if I explained earlier what the Sacrifice does, because I was trying to roll through it. Let me double check. I'm trying to roll through this kind of quickly. Oh yeah, Sacrifice. If I didn't explain that, it has like 4 effects, so you might want to read that. I'm trying to push through this, so I'll probably talk about it more at the end. But yeah, it does help protect your monsters, get doubles, tributes, and things like that. So I'll maybe talk about that a little bit more if I remember. But so your save zone just kind of helps out with that only being at 1. You can actually use this to protect your monsters, keep a board presence, make sure you don't get OTK'd. You know, or just, you know, so your opponent just doesn't wipe the board and you have nothing on the board. You can protect it with your save zones. It's a tech I've taken in and out, but I like it, and it's good. If you don't like it, you know, there's other things out there. This right here, very important, gets back your, it's climate change. Very important for getting back your, what is it called? Your scout. You get back your scout, and also just for getting back any of your clays, especially with the Rotom. I like to call those tenacity and the return, Rotom and Totem. So I'll probably just refer to that for easier to say. But it lets you play around that, getting your pieces back, so that way if you don't have the stealth to bounce your tenacity, I mean not your tenacity, but your return. If you don't have the stealth play to bounce that, or you want to bounce something else instead, these really come in handy for getting back the pieces you've tributed. And then you have vanities, because like you really do play a strong normal summon game and don't really need to rely on your pendulum summoning. So yeah, there is no, I don't have an extra deck or side deck. You don't really go to the extra deck in this deck. Let me see if there's anything else that I might have missed. I'll talk about Sacrifice. That's one. Sacrifice, you don't really need, I mean, excuse me, not don't need. You can't, he's limited to one. So for new Qli players, that's, you only get one with this. But he has 4 effects. One is you gain 300 attack power. The other is, the others are monsters can't be destroyed by battle. He counts as the monster this is equipped to counts as 2 tributes for a Qliphort monster. And the fourth thing is if it's sent to the grave, you get to search. So hence why it's limited to 1. It was broken. Also, there's one thing that I wanted to explain about the. Ooh, sorry, this is kind of horrible. I've had to reshoot this so many times. I think I'm just getting hoarse. My mouth's getting dry. The Tyrant's Tirades, again, like I explained why I like them, but they're really good for plays with the disc. It's not that big of a play right now, that necessary, but when I played him at 2, it happened a bit more often. And if you like it and you are missing certain cards, these play well together. So you use this, summon 2 monsters. And if you got a Tyrant's Tirade set, summon 2, and then do damage. If you just swung over or crashed into some of your opponent's monsters and it wasn't an OTK off of that, or if you didn't just clear out game, then before, like in your main phase 2, activate the Tyrant's Tirade and tribute off the 2 you just summoned. They were going to leave the field anyways. Then get effects that will remove any other leftover problems that you're able to use and that you have to get rid of. And then you have the Tyrant's Tirade, so they can't even really rebuild or put monsters with effects. So this is a really good way to combine for big play and then go into a lock. So that's one thing I wanted to show. The other thing was, the Majesty's Fiend. This is one of the things I didn't really explain. With the safe zones, you protect your Majesty's Fiend. So that was it, not just your Qliphort monsters, but more so getting board lock and just controlling the board with safe zones, and you can protect your Majesty's Fiend. If they were going to have an out for it, you just activate the safe zone, and yeah, that can really just make it even more problematic for your opponent. So the deck is not dead. I love Qlis. I'm probably going to keep looking for ways to play them. Sorry if this video is very long. I hope that you skipped around and just see the parts you like, or if you want to rewatch it and see the commentary at the end. Again, this is the Super Fist signing off. Like, comment, subscribe.